All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well. So, folks, today, first things first, check it out. New merch, sick. All right, we're going to talk about a few things today. The first one being the trial of Danny Masterson is underway in Los Angeles, California. They're choosing the jury as we speak. A guy named Tony Ortega, who is kind of the Scientology guy. I'm pretty sure he writes a article about Scientology every day or something on his Substack. So this is his Super Bowl event. So he's been in the courtroom. He said Danny walked in the first day dressed sharp as always. Said Danny did not look nervous. I would guess Danny is hiding the nervousness because Danny is facing up to 45 years. Damn, that's a lot. And the story with this case so far has been delay after delay after delay. I made a video almost a year ago being like, the Danny Masterson trial is about to be underway. Here's what you need to know. And here we are almost a year later. And the most recent attempt to delay things again on Masterson's side seems to be their strategy. What if let's just delay it, keep delaying it. Delay? Yeah, Your Honor, delay. Their latest attempt that finally got turned down was, they said, Your Honor, listen, one of the lawyers on our team represents a baseball player. I know. And in some sort of baseball litigation case. So what we were thinking is it makes sense to us that the lawyer on our team that represents the baseball player go deal with the baseball case. We'll delay this case. No problem. They can go finish the baseball litigation, get that resolved, and then I guess if there's time, maybe we could circle back around and deal with this case. But for now, we're thinking what makes the most sense is another delay because of baseball. And finally, the judge said, nah, we're doing it. Sorry, Danny, we're starting. And the other big pretrial news was the judge made a very important decision, which essentially said the Church of Scientology is not on trial in this case. Danny Masterson is. But the Church of Scientology can be discussed in relation to this case, which I think it's going to get complicated. That's easier said than done. Because from everything I heard, Danny's side is going to go with these alleged victims, these are really old allegations that seem to get worse. Danny Masterson's side said these allegations against Danny seem to get worse and worse every year, a little suspicious, and that the alleged victims were trying to figure out a way to financially capitalize on them. They saw the Me Too era and everything that happened with that. They got dollar signs in their eyes, and I think what they're going to say is they're going for these big civil lawsuits, which are already in the works, and they need this criminal lawsuit to back that up. And in short, Danny didn't do anything, and they're trying to go for his money. And if they were real, then why didn't they come out way earlier? And then the prosecution side is going, I think, probably to say, again, this is just me speculating. It's only, they're just picking the jury. But I think the prosecution, the picture they're going to paint is the reason these victims didn't come out immediately is because they were completely ingrained in the Church of Scientology. And the Church of Scientology has a rule that you don't go to law enforcement about anything about another Scientology member. You deal with it in the church. And then, this is where it starts to get horrifying. So say you're a member of the Scientology church and you get brutally raped by a very important person in the church. And then when you go to the higher ups and say, I was brutally assaulted, can I go to law enforcement? Apparently they gave one of them, they said, you do what you need to do. I think they're smart enough to know, don't put any of that stuff in writing. But the prosecution is going to say is the reason they didn't come out earlier with this stuff is, one, they would have been disowned by their friends and family and everything they know, and that is an extremely daunting I'm a Scientologist, and if I come out, I'm going to be an enemy of Scientology, and then what am I going to do? And then also in the Church of Scientology, allegedly, if something happens to you and you're a victim, the first thing they ask, or the mood of the conversation, is, what did you do to bring this horrible situation on yourself? And maybe you need another auditing session. Maybe that's what you need. I don't know if going to law enforcement and filing rape charges are really what you need. I think you need to talk to this Scientologist and get badgered and beaten up verbally in an auditing session, and then I think you'll feel right as rain. And so not only were these victims, their friends, their family, they're thinking, my family's going to disown me. They're hardcore Scientologists, and I'm going to be the one. So they have that reason. But also, Scientology has it so anybody that is not helping further the idea and growth of Scientology, the church, anybody that's against that is labeled a suppressive person, an SP. We're all, even by talking about all this, we're all SPs. But once that you get deemed an SP, the church can deal with you without any moral compass or ethics or anything. They can destroy you in the most brutal, dirty, nasty way you could ever think of. And they have endless money. And so prosecution's going to argue, and it's a decent argument. The reason that these ladies didn't come out earlier is because they were completely entrenched in Scientology, and their whole life would have been turned upside down, which it probably was already by the horrific assaults. One of them was, the victim alleges that she woke up after being drugged by Danny. He's raping her. She starts fighting. He pulls a gun out, tells her not to move. I mean, this is wild stuff. So not only are you worried about, I'm going to lose all my friends and my parents are going to disown me and everything socially that I know and that supports my life is going to be over, one, and then two, as a little kicker behind that, the sky's the limit on how they can get back at you. They could ruin you. And so that coupled together, and see how they had to talk about, this is how Scientology is, and that's why. So I think they're going to say that. Of course they didn't come forward. That's how Scientology is. And then, this is where I think it's going to get complicated, then Danny's side, I think, is probably going to go, no, it's not. That's not how it is. So point to the Scientology doctrine where it says all of that. And I would guess Scientology is smart enough not to put any of that in writing and just make it known, but that's just how it is. There's enough Scientologists that have been way up, high up, that have quit and have said how it is at this point, that everybody knows how it is. But to prove it in court, that's kind of how I'm sitting back going, how is that going to play? They're painting that picture, 20 years old. They are old allegations. What's going to be the evidence? And then they're going to say, well, it's because of Scientology. And then the other side's going to go, no, it's not. And point to what do you can't just make that up about Scientology. Everybody that said that about Scientology is an embittered loser that hates Scientology and trying to bring it down. No one that's in Scientology says any of that nonsense, and I think it's going to get complicated, but it's interesting, so we'll follow it. So the second thing I want to talk about just super quickly is the trial of Sarah Boone, who zippered up her boyfriend George in a suitcase, tortured and murdered him, filmed it, either forgot that she filmed it or thought that if she filmed it and then deleted it, law enforcement, once she handed her phone over, here's my phone, that they wouldn't be able to find it. Obviously, they found it immediately. They brought her in for an interrogation. If you remember in the interrogation, they go, oh yeah, let me show you a video we pulled off your phone. And they put on the video of George going, Sarah, and in about 2 seconds into the video, she leans back looking horrified and goes, I don't want to watch it, please. And I'm thinking, that's not going to happen in the trial. They're going to play that video a couple times, and probably, and you don't get to say, I don't want to watch it, please. I think I said it already, but it's slated to start her trial November 7th. Again, it's just been delay after delay. One thing I've been watching some body camera footage came out on Sarah, and a picture was painted since the last time we talked about it that Sarah was in a divorce with, seemed like a really decent guy, and I think he either bought her out of the house or they sold the house. She got a solid chunk of money, not huge, but a solid chunk of money. She moved into the townhouse where the whole thing happened, got her boyfriend in there, and then it sounds like she never worked again. It was just the red wine roller coaster for years, and then finally this happened. Her neighbors called her Drunky the Bear. Sounds like she was on a multi-year long bender. And I'm thinking, imagine the forced sobering up head clearing that Sarah Boone had to do. Stepping off the red wine roller coaster, she's in jail, and everything comes rushing in. And I'm sure she was going, oh my God. Oh my God, the suitcase and the film, and remember, George is going, Sarah, and she's going, that's my name, don't wear it out. It's one of the most horrific clips of footage I've seen in a really long time. They're going to play it for the jury. I guess the other thing that I'm thinking with this one is I keep picturing myself as her defense attorney. What do you do? I guess try to plead the charges down to a lesser murder, or just say something like, well, I'm sure you guys saw the video, and I know the video is horrifying, and I know the video is alarming, but in a free country, couples are allowed to play, and couples are allowed to role play, and I know the video seems scary, and I know it led to something really bad, but at the end of the day, what the video still proves, even though George lost his life and it's just so sad and horrible, it still shows the video that it's possibly not intentional. And then the lawyer looks back at Sarah, and Sarah's like, yeah, not intentional. Good, that's our angle. What are they going to do? There's the video, it's horrifying, it's probably going to be a quick trial. Okay. That one goes down November 7th. Now, last but not least, folks. So last video, I talked about an incredible cheating scandal that unfolded in the professional fishing world. We got weights in fish. Well, the two men that were caught cheating fishing in the walleye tournament were arrested. They were charged with grand theft and illegal possession of wildlife. Instead of, you're not allowed to shove metal balls down fish's throats, and they are looking at possibly a year in prison plus fines, which that's a big fall from being the king of the walleye fishing world, winning tournament after tournament, sitting on your boat under the blue sky and green leaves going, man, this is not too bad. We really figured something out, to all of a sudden, possibly a year in prison, completely embarrassed. The face that guy had, I'll probably never forget. Well, fans of the show, turned me on to somehow how incredible the We Got Weights in Fish saga is. I think the chess world topped it. Last month, the #1 chess player in the world, which that's a hell of a title. A lot of people are going for that title and dedicating their entire life, sacrificing everything, memorizing. Unbelievable to be called, I'm the #1 in the world chess player. His name is Magnus Carlsen. He was on a 53-game win streak. That's really impressive. Last month, he's facing like the 40 or 50-something in the world, which is still insanely good. But a big difference between 1 and 50 in the world, and the guy that's 40-something, 50 in the world, somewhere around there, is named Hans Niemann. And Hans, the 50-something in the world, beats #1 in the world. And then the #1 in the world comes out and goes, he didn't even seem like he was concentrating, and he was the black pieces, which means a tiny slight disadvantage, and I'm number one in the world, and people with black pieces to outplay me like that without even concentrating or seeming nervous or anything, something's off. I think that there's cheating happening. And then I'm not joking, the allegations is that the 40 or 50 ranked chess player in the world possibly, allegedly used a vibrating device in his butt to be given the codes via vibrating Morse code in order to beat the number one chess player in the world. You can't write this stuff. That sounds like a story a 12-year-old boys would come up with in the locker room. He was cheating with his butt. And so then those allegations are running wild. Was a vibrating butt device used for cheating? And then the next month or a few weeks later, those same two players just happened to meet again in a tournament after just one single move. The number one guy in the world quit. He bowed out. He said he thought he was cheating again. Even just after one move, he's going, does this guy have something in his butt? And after one move, he pulls out. And then there's another big money tournament that the number one player in the world, it would be unheard of for him not to play in it. He puts out a statement, I'm not playing in that tournament. And the whole chess world was shaken to the core, or I guess in this situation, vibrated to the core with these cheating allegations. And the guy, Hans Niemann, who was accused of butt cheating, has come out and said that is ridiculous. He said he was willing to play naked to prove his point. And so here's the possible situations. One, Hans Niemann, the 40, 50-something in the world, is 19 years old. And so it is possible that he had a big jump in how good he was quickly. It happens with young people, especially with these days. There's so much chess to study and to games to analyze that does happen. Not sure that it did, but it does happen. All of a sudden going from pretty good grandmaster to, oh my gosh, really, really good. So maybe that happened, and it would be sad if the guy actually did work hard and become that good, and then it gets all chalked up to butt cheating. But it's a good lesson because he had admitted to cheating when he was 12 years old playing online chess. Then when he was 16 years old, also playing online chess, but just those 2 times. I only cheated 2 times when I was 12, and then 3 years ago when I was 16. This cheating with a vibrating device in my butt is just stupid. I don't cheat anymore. I did it twice when I was younger. It was the worst mistake I've ever made, but I don't cheat anymore. Well, now that all of the new allegations are swirling, they have computer systems now that you can put all of the moves of a chess game into the computer, and it'll give the percentage of whether the person possibly cheated. Are they playing? Because if they're playing too much like a perfect super chess playing computer, then if they're making the moves that the computer would make too often, then they can, I guess, deem that it's cheating. And so they put in Hans Niemann with his new cheating allegation with his butt. They put a bunch of his old games recently into this cheating computer, and it came back that he possibly has been cheating maybe over 100 times. The whole thing blew up. It would be sad, but it's a big lesson to even cheating when you're 12 years old, because possibly he cheated when he was 12 years old online. Hey, I'm a 12-year-old, and then I'm 16. That was years ago. And then what if he did really just come into his own and he's not cheating, but all of a sudden everyone thinks you're cheating? And in one of my favorite moments of this last week, so now the chess world is continuing on and there's more of these tournaments. So Hans Niemann, the 19-year-old, 40, 50-something in the world, shows up to a recent tournament, and the people running the recent tournament went online and bought a scanning device, and in the news article, they're saying they went on and they bought a scanning device that can pick up the silicone and even battery-operated electronic cheating devices, or any type of cheating device, electrical, this thing should pick it up. So essentially what they're saying is the people that ran this tournament, seeing that this guy was going to come play, were like, oh, we got to find a vibrating butt cheating device scanner if we're going to have a fair tournament. And so they spent thousands of dollars on the butt cheating device scanner. Again, you can't write this stuff. And so everybody that came in got scanned. And when it came to the 19-year-old, 40 or 50-something in the world that's being accused of cheating, when he came in the room, the guy scanned him over, and then he had to turn around, and what has become a meme and a hilarious picture, he got his butt scanned. And I think that's all I have on that one. Wild stuff. I've definitely gone down a cheating saga wormhole these past couple weeks. So that's all I have today, but I do want to end on something very special. I feel really bad. A couple episodes ago, I did the interrogation of Sherry Papini, and she probably has the most pathetic and longest and hardest lie cry of anybody we've talked about. But I forgot to give her official lie cry horn honk, because honestly, those interrogation episodes take a lot of concentration to get it in one take. If you don't believe me, try it, and I'd love to see your attempt at it. And I've been in the middle of trying to get one of those interrogation episodes recorded, like 26 minutes in, and I just blank, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting here like, all right, well, I guess I have to try again tomorrow. And but to make it up to you guys, I want to do something special. One of my favorite parts of Sherry Panini's stupid story is that the alleged kidnappers were blasting mariachi music, and so I've gone down a big mariachi music phase. It's got a great mood. I'm thinking, man, wonder why that happy-sounding music came out of where it did. Is it because Mexico is so warm and the weather or whatever it is, but it's such a mood. And so I actually found some great mariachi music in the YouTube audio library. So I'm going to play you off with that, give you guys the official Sherry Panini lie cry horn that I owe you. And we will just end today's episode with everything right. So let's get this going. All right. Here we go. So Sherry Panini's. Okay, there's the official lie. Well, since it was the longest one, I'll give her a couple. Okay. One more hoax vibe. All right, folks. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Why? Diving wide.